I want you to listen.
Thanks for joining us on ReelChat. Myself, NAT3MILL, and Chris Carter are going to be discussing the Falcon and Winter Soldier show here today. And hopefully we get some viewers in here for the chat. That'd be pretty great. I don't think we're going to have any guests as of today, but we'll find out. Anyway, let's get into it. So, Falcon and Winter Soldier. New show on Disney Plus, a follow-up after Wanda and Vision, which originally I didn't like, but I actually started to grow very quite fond of. I'm a huge fan of Buchanan Barnes, Bucky, the Winter Soldier. I love his story. In my opinion, he's got one of the best stories from most of the people that are in the Avengers from the MCU. So let's dive right in. Chris, have you watched the newest episode?
Yeah, I definitely have. And you mentioned WandaVision, and of course it's going to be compared to that. And I know we're not going to get too far into it, but I feel that from the first two episodes, right? We have to grade it on that and the scope of it. And how long have they announced how many episodes are going to be? Is it going to be a 10, a 9-er? Don't know.
I don't know. I can look it up on IMDb though. Let me see.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because it started out a little slow for me. And I know they're kind of building into something bigger, and there are things peppered into it.
6 episodes.
It's how many? 6?
It's 6 episodes.
Well, they better get this show on the road then, shit, because I mean,
again, that could change. That's just what IMDb has posted. Usually they update them as the shows go along. You probably know this, watching high viewership shows or something that has a lot of viewers or limelight, like to say. IMDb sometimes won't release all of them all at once. We can blame the PAs for that.
Yeah, on-set pictures too. That's why you get the rule: don't take your phone out of your pocket when you're on set.
Sure, I've never done
that. Nobody's ever done that, right? Nobody ever takes pictures of themselves in costumes or in makeup before action. No, the first 2 episodes. I mean, and I am excited about it. I think that their storyline that's being pitched is a buddy comedy too. That's part of it. Buddy action, buddy comedy. You've seen a lot of the trailers coming out, so you expect that. And I love Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. I mean, when you have them, I feel like it's the closest connective tissue that we have to what the MCU was before. I'm sorry, after Endgame. So this is kind of bringing back feelings of nostalgia, because for a decade we had almost 2 or 3 Marvel films released a year, and last year we didn't get any. And with Endgame, they're transitioning to the Eternals, and you would know more than I would know about anything about that, because for me it's the Avengers, and that's kind of it. So for me to kind of see these 2 characters and kind of pull back from what we had gone through for the past decade is fun. It's interesting, and you want to like it right off the bat.
Rachel said 6 episodes. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And tell Rachel she's absolutely right. Tell Rachel.
I leave it up on IMDb. That's what it says. It says that Winter Soldier's only going to have 6. I like how I say Winter Soldier instead of Falcon. Oops. Yeah, on IMDb it says 6 episodes for the show. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's good. That's crazy. Well, so obviously you've seen both of them. How do you feel about these first 2 so far?
Raving Bob, Justice for Isaiah. Ooh, we're going to get into that. Thank you for Bob for putting that in there. Isaiah. It's great. I like how they glossed over the first black Captain America, I like to say.
Yeah.
As I don't know if you've seen the second episode, they touched on that character finally. That was in the comics. Okay, so this is my thing, all right? The end of Endgame was amazing. It was beautiful send-off for the original Avengers show. It was kind of a turning point to start a new phase for all these new characters that they're hopefully going to bring in and stuff like that, Like I said, Marvel doesn't really have a good job with their legacies in the comics, and I'm hoping that they change that with the show. But let's get into it. The first episode was so dull. I'm sorry, they're doing all this CGI with him flying around. Like, okay, it's exciting or whatever, but it didn't draw me in, honestly. The only thing that drawed me in was anytime Bucky was on screen. his past and Winter Soldier and stuff like that. We got a lot. I was always interested in Winter Soldier's background, what he's done. I mean, everybody knew he killed the Stark, Tony Stark's parents. So that was a huge thing in Civil War in the show, the movie. But it didn't draw me in. The first episode was so slow. It was trying to focus on like the background of Falcon, how he gets his money and his family. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not compassionate on that. Get me to the show. I want to see what the show is going to be about. I don't want to. I mean, the family. I don't know how you felt about that. What did you think about that?
Well, and again, it's I don't know, man. Like, there are things I liked about the first episode and things I didn't. I couldn't agree more. I think that, like, when you want to see a superhero kind of be super, I mean, I think, again, these aren't our core four, right? This isn't Thor, Iron Man, this isn't a Banner, this isn't Widow, this isn't Hawkeye, these are basically secondary characters for a lot of it. So, I mean, to me, we're invested in the sexy part of it, and so I understand that they're trying to make them more human, and it feels very much like that, because I do think that there's going to be a lot of layered commentary in this series. So I think being open to that is definitely something that they have to create motivation for. But for me, having Falcon go to the bank and ask for a loan and be shot down, like bro, you have money. I know you have. This seems like a stupid way to create this storyline where it's like, I got to do this. Where I'm sure you have money somewhere. To me, it felt bad writing. Yeah. I kind of felt like that was bad writing. I will say.
Okay, so this is the issue with Marvel, in my opinion. I don't like. They try too hard with the humor. I didn't laugh at all, unless there's like 2 times that I laughed, which was funny because with Bucky, like the line where he's like, "What's your name?" "Oh, I'm Battlestar." "You're Battlestar." "Stop the car. Get me out." Like, that was funny. That was great. I did not like the fact that Sam turned away the shield. Like I said, Endgame ended beautifully. He was going to pick up the shield. He was going to come in. Okay, whatever. I thought Bucky was going to be the next Captain America. He's already Falcon. What's Bucky got left for him? I thought he was going to try and regain his honor. I thought that would be really cool. Regain his honor and become the next Captain America. That'd be a huge turning point. Huge trust. Right. Have Falcon kind of show him the way, because even Sam, is supposed to be a good guy, right? But then in the first episode, he just gives the shield to the museum. Okay, why? Yeah. And Bob makes a nice point. He says, I like Bucky's therapy sessions, and I love that Marvel touches on PTSD. Yes, I thought that was great. I thought that was beautiful. I liked that. I liked the therapy sessions with Bucky. I thought that was very interesting to see that character's turning point from that. He's going to therapy. He's pardoned by the president, but on condition that he goes to therapy.
And the big part of that too is, and his story is interesting because you have that reveal of him palling around with the guy who's much older, looks like his grandfather, and you find out later at the very end that he was the one who killed his son, and so you have that grief and you have all that burden that Bucky has and carries with him. And I think Bucky's storyline in the episode 1 was great. I loved his story in episode 1. In episode 2, I kind of felt like I was more interested in Falcon's story, but yeah, I would agree with your legacies. I would agree with your statement about that. I would say that Sebastian Stan is really killing it as Bucky, and I kind of every time the camera goes to him, and I'm sure you heard the rumors that they're looking they're courting him to be a young Luke Skywalker.
I'm hoping for that. That'd be great.
Yeah, so that would be something too. But yeah, episode 1, they had the CGI. He jumped out the plane. They had to hook people because you see all that part in the trailer, right? That basically most of episode 1 is in the trailer.
Appreciate you.
So there was that. But yeah, episode 1, it didn't, and especially we had that closing shot of I can't think of the actor's name. Was it Russell Wyatt, I believe, wearing Captain America's helmet and his uniform. And the internet lit that dude up. I felt really, because he's actually a pretty good actor. He was great in Overlord.
You know who he is, right?
Yeah, he's been in Overlord. I know that.
No,
he was great. He was better in that than he was in this.
He's Kurt Russell's son.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Kurt Russell named him Wyatt after Wyatt Earp, from him playing him in Tombstone.
Shut up! Yeah, I did not know that. What the fuck? Well, good call. I didn't know that. I'm
sorry though. I think he's a great actor. I think he's going to be interesting. I know his history, and I don't want to spoil anything for the viewers unless They're fine with knowing spoils from the
I
comics and
want
stuff.
no, let it be natural because I want to be.
Okay.
I'm looking at fresh eyes.
He looks like Dopey, man, in that helmet.
Yeah.
The ears, like they couldn't make it. They couldn't make it look better. I know he's supposed to be wearing the same thing, but he looks kind of comical. I'm sorry, I miss Chris. I saw him come out with the suit and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I miss Chris Evans.
Yeah, real bad. And it's like, this is Disney. There's, this is money, so it's like, I couldn't believe they let that fly. And I mean, you've been on sets, it's like someone said, okay, that works. Who the fuck would say, okay, that works? You know what I mean? They know the bust that Chris Evans had as a Captain America. Then we have this. And I think that part of it maybe was by design. Well, I think it might have been by design, right? They want people to look at him and be like, this is not my Captain America. And then we have to build to that. What do you think maybe they did that on purpose or no?
Okay, so it's just okay. So let's delve into the issues I had with it. Okay, let's start with the pros, right? It's cool to get the shows from Disney Plus, the conditions that we're going through with COVID and stuff like that too, and everything.
Yeah,
it's cool to get like a continuing, how do I say this? Continuation from the stories of the heroes that we know, right? It's great.
Right.
Okay, I like that. I like that they're putting Falcon and Winter Soldier together. I like the fact that that's going to be an interesting dynamic because they weren't really at they were always at odds in the movies. They kind of like
right.
They were the only thing that
kind
of connected them.
No.
Was Steve Rogers. Yeah, that was great. I love that. That was great. Take Steve Rogers out of the equation. What's the relationship built on? Still Steve Rogers, the Shield. What did Sam do? Immediately gave up the shield. That pissed me off. We were supposed to be like, okay, he's gonna be the next one. We're gonna push him toward this, and then we get Secret Agent coming in. Wyatt Russell with the shield. Typical government thing to do. Give it to another white guy. And guess what? What does Marvel do? Let's give the white guy a black sidekick.
Yeah,
that pisses me off. I'm sorry. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but that annoys the hell out of me. That same trope, a white guy main character, black guy sidekick. I thought it was hilarious that they're like, he's my partner. I'm like, yeah. So this dude just is with you. He's in the army, and all of a sudden he's gonna be your next Falcon. I like how they're all sitting, the dynamics of them sitting in the back of the truck, and it's like, okay, Winter Soldier, Falcon, Battlestar, and new Captain America. Why can't they get past it, man? That's what made me happy. I'm like, okay, Falcon's gonna be the next Captain America, and then it automatically just turns it away, turns the shield over.
I wonder if they're doing that because they can build to it, right? Like I think that you're right. I think that at the end that Falcon will hold the shield. I do think that. But if they started there, where do they go? Like that would be my argument for that, right? Like if they gave it to Falcon at the beginning, then it's not really a show. You'd have to get to that point. Think of it like as an origin story, maybe. But I do see your point. I don't know shit about Battlestar. I did a little bit of research before we hopped on about him. And again, you have that prior knowledge of these of these players, and it's going to come big in episode 2, I think, because we have that big reveal at the end of it with Black Captain America, who I think that I don't know if that's his name or not, and then Patriot, who was I believe his grandson, which again I knew nothing about until I Googled that. Maybe I think the day after I saw the episode. So. Well, I'm going to lean on you for a little bit of knowledge on that.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. That was the original one back in Korea and stuff like that too. When Captain America was on ice, they hadn't found him yet at that point. They couldn't wake him up, so they gave the super serum to somebody else to go in and fight Winter Soldier because Winter Soldier was still working for Hydra, and that was that guy. And he still has it in his system. He's just older, just like Captain America is. If you remove the serum, they age. But he still has it. So that's kind of... I'm trying to figure out how the MCU is going to tie that in with the comics and stuff like that too, and see if they're going to stay true to that canon era of like how that works and stuff. That's going to be interesting. But... okay. Art is politics, or everybody would make shoes. Okay? Mm-hmm. I get that. They're really laying it on thick with this last episode. Like they're in the middle of the street and the cops just happen to show up in that neighborhood and just start questioning them and they don't know who that guy is? Really? They don't know who Falcon is. They're just laying it on thick. I'm like, come on. You guys feel like it's stretching out a little bit more.
But I would say, yeah, I would agree with you, but I think that they covered their base by doing that in episode 1 with the loan officer not knowing who he was at first too. Like it was the same reveal. Oh, it's like, oh, you're that guy, and then the cop at the end of episode 2 said the same thing. Oh, wait a minute, that's Falcon.
Yeah.
I will say the way that happened felt organic to me. Didn't feel like it was forced. Yes, there's social commentary, absolutely, and I think that when we have a film like or a series like this, there's going to be, and I think maybe there definitely should be too, because for what you're saying is like you can have a black Captain America, and whether the world's ready for that or not is a different conversation altogether. But we have the opportunity to get to that point, and so now we're on the storyline that Marvel's weaving along with Disney. So we have this point here where Falcon sees he didn't know about this other black super soldier, and so maybe had he known about that, he wouldn't have passed up the shield, or there's something that kind of rubs in the wrong way, and so they go outside and they yell, and that happens. Like if you're in a congested area, you start yelling at somebody. I've had that happen to me. The cops rolled up on us when I was walking me and my dog in front of my house at 2 a.m. It's just I get that part of it, but at the same time, it's like, to me, that felt to me has been the most interesting part outside of the reveal at the end of season or episode 1 when Bucky kills the old dude's son.
Yeah.
So far, so those 2 points are the points that stand out to me the most of this series. Again, episode 2. So yeah.
Okay, here's the issue that I have with the show. All right, so he turned away the shield and stuff like that too, right? He didn't give a good reason. Like my wife and I were watching it and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, he just gave it away because of his fear." Fear of what? Not owning up to it at all? Like, okay, I can maybe get that, but it doesn't really expand on his reasoning on why he gave away the shield. That part pissed me off. He didn't explain what was going on in that, why he gave it up. He's like, "Oh, it just felt right." Why did it feel right? Obviously, the world needs a hero, and Steve's not there anymore. There's not really there's no Iron Man.
Right.
What are the Avengers at that point? Wanda's off doing her own thing, obviously causing a lot of trouble, and stuff. Mm-hmm. But what's going on? So obviously there's going to be a power vacuum and stuff with the Flag Smashers coming out of the woodwork, and whoever those guys are. Bob makes a good point. Flag Smashers exporting vaccines. Why are they exporting vaccines? To take over, like just put more power people out in the world to just like cripple governments? I really don't know a lot about the Flag Smashers. I don't even know if they're in the comics. I don't recognize the name. I don't. So chat, if you know who those guys are, please let us know, because I really don't know.
I know a little bit about that. The flag, I believe, and again, I'm super naive about this, but I did look it up. There is one Flag Smasher, and it's the girl, and I think her name is Kari or Carol. I wish I was better prepared for this, but it's whoever she is the Flag Smasher.
Okay.
And as far as their motives, to me, I'm assuming, and again, we're just going with what they're showing us on the series.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a balance to it. I mean, there is that part that Bane talks about in Dark Knight Rises, where it's like you put enough power in the world that starts to cripple it, you start to revert back to archaic levels. So maybe that's what it is. Mm-hmm. If you have one superpowered army, I mean, again, the parallels that I think they're going to be made for this series they're going to be one of them that are actually very relevant, I think. And I think it's safe to say that the United States has the most powerful army in the world, or at least one of the two. If you were to create more of those, then then there's an unseating of power. And so it could be that that's what the Flag Smashers are trying to do.
That's what their whole line, where it's like one people, one world. Maybe they're trying to make everybody like that, I guess. I don't know. Balance the power, I guess. Yeah. Communism. Sorry, what? Just saying.
What did you think about so when we first get a Bucky and Falcon kind of together, how did you feel about that first interaction? Because it comes like towards the middle half, or maybe the middle third of episode 2. What did you think about that?
Okay, did Falcon want Winter Soldier with him the whole time, or no? I can't remember if he said no.
No, and because Bucky's trying to push. He's basically saying, why'd you give up the shields? Because we have that line later. It says if Bucky was wrong, or if Sam was wrong, or Steve was wrong about
him,
he was wrong about me.
I love that line, man. That was the best part of the episode, dude. I love that. That seemed real. I felt compassion toward Bucky's character at that point too. I felt really like that's so true. He cared for Steve, so much, you know, and Steve cared about him. So I can completely relate to the fact that, okay, if he believed in you, then he must have believed in me. And if not, then what am I doing here? You know, what's my purpose?
Yeah, yeah. And then of course what Steve did, I mean, basically the Winter Soldier's story is woven with Captain America's stories in you know in the trilogy and then into the Avengers movies. And again, Sebastian Stan's killing it. Like the camera loves him. He's so damn good on camera too. Like
Mm-hmm.
so every time he's on camera, I love it. And that point that you talked about when he says that, but also when him and when Falk calls him Buck, he's like, "You can't call me Buck." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "Sound call
Yep.
or Steve call me Buck." He had a plan. You know, the banter, right? It reminds you a little bit of what
Marvel got in trouble for that in the
What?
comics.
Why?
Because BUC Buck was back in the day what plantation owners used to call black slaves.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I don't know if they were hinting on that or something like that, but they got in trouble for it in the comics because Battlestar, his code word, I can't remember the actual acronym for it, but BUC was his acronym before Battlestar. Now, to answer Bob's questions, how are they going to reach that goal? Because there's no small feat unless they recruit some insane number of people and give them the serum. So the issue was, okay, at the end, when they're running onto the plane, the guy like sacrifices himself. They're running from the power broker. The power broker is somebody from the comics that actually gave Battlestar the super soldier serum. So either they're running away because remember she got that text, "I'm gonna find you." Maybe that guy had the serum and they're stealing from him those medical supplies or something like that to create another serum or something like that. I don't know how Carly got it. Obviously, she's the most powerful of them. You know, she's got the strength and stuff because she punched. You know, she did most of the action on top of the semis. But maybe that's how they're gonna do it. Maybe that's how they're gonna do it. Maybe they're gonna team up with those guys because it seems like they're at odds with them. But probably at the end they're going to fight them in some way. You know.
But I think yeah, and I don't know anything about Battlestar. I'd like to pick your brain about that later though. I think the biggest thing for me that happened was we get Bucky and we get Falk kind of in the room together, and we see that they just have very different outlooks, especially when you mentioned it when they're moving the medical supplies. And Bucky's like, "There are two of them," and Falcon's like, "Oh, really? Are there two? Well, how many do you see now?" And then he uses Red Wing to kind of show that there's six, and you know you have these two different personalities, and it's great to see Falcon kind of in charge and surveying it, and Bucky kind of being like, "All right, well let's just go. I've got my arm, and
Right.
and that's it." So, but it was cool, and then we have the scene with the therapist when. The when they have to stare each other's eyes, right? And he's like,
I love that part. It was so
right?
funny.
He's like, move, and they're.
I want to do this. I want to do this. No, let's do it. Oh.
Yeah. So I'm excited because now we've kind of we've got that conflict, right? We've got our conflict between the two characters we like, and then that rolls into, that's where we come from before when we have the meeting with the Black Captain America, and I believe that's what he's called too. I'm not being, callous when I.
No, that's just something that's on that the article I was reading yesterday about it. That's just,
okay.
It wasn't his actual title, obviously. That would be horrible. Marvel, come on now.
Right. So then, what is his title? Because I don't want to.
I don't know. I think Bob might know. He talked about something about Justice for Isaiah, which is I think the guy's son who becomes Patriot later on. But I don't know where they're gonna go with this, man. I'm watching it for Sebastian Stan. I like that actor a lot. I think he's done a lot of good stuff, and I'm excited to see more from Bucky as well too. His name is Isaiah. Oh, is Isaiah? So that was the guy, the older guy. What was his son's name? Bob, do you know? Hopefully he knows.
Interesting.
Oh, hopefully he knows. Got to get more people in the chat, dude. I want to hear more people's opinions besides ours. That's what the whole purpose of this. I love discussing this stuff with you because you and I, we both look at these things differently, which is great because we can discuss and everything like that too. But no, it's interesting where the show's going to go. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it as well too. But I don't know, man. I just don't. It's not hooking me. The villain does not seem relatable, and the best thing you can do for having a good villain is make them relatable. In my opinion, some people just like seeing bad guys versus good guys. Okay, whatever floats your boat. However, I like seeing a antagonist that makes the protagonist not look good. Does that make sense?
Right.
I like
No,
that.
as an audience, that's where we're at now. I think the audience is an incredibly intelligent audience now, whether it's for film or for television, and we have this kind of melding of the two, especially in this instance. No, you have to treat your audience like they're brilliant in most cases, or in some cases, not most cases. But I think in this case we do. You have to create a villain that's almost, you don't want to say likable, but a great example is Harvey Dent. Not to call back to Chris Nolan's trilogy because it's
Everybody
brilliant.
goes back to DC.
Right, it's true. That one, yeah, I will cop to that one, but definitely.
Josiah, thank you, Bob. Okay, thank you. All right, cool.
Josiah,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
Josiah X. Oh, gotcha. The but no, I think I agree, and we don't know who the bad guy is yet. I think it's safe to say that right now we believe that it's the Flag Smasher, but at the same time, for me, I don't think that's where it's going to end up. I really don't. I think that.
Well, they mentioned let's go see Zemo, so obviously they're going to go back to him. He's going to be brought in, which okay, cool. He's probably going to escape. Everybody can see that coming, right? He's going to meet up with either the Power Broker or the Flag Smashers in some way, and continue because he kind of won, like he said, he won. They're fighting each other, but maybe he wants more out of that, right? Maybe he wants somebody else to continue his legacy himself of destroying the Avengers or the people that are in power,
Yeah, but that was a personal motivation for him. I mean, obviously for other people it's different, but for him it was. Do
you think he's out then? Like he wasn't want to get involved?
No, I don't think he's out. But I do think that I do see. Yeah, fuck. It's hard to argue your point now.
See,
yeah,
I don't. It's like he's there. Obviously, he's going to be one of the antagonists. Make up your mind, Marvel. Who's the antagonist in the show?
And what you're saying is correct. Like if it is only 6 episodes, that means we'll be halfway through the season next week, and right now we don't have a clear-cut villain, at least in my opinion, and we haven't really established that was Sam in any position closer to getting the shield back because. In fact, it looks like they're trying to really angle. What is it, John? What is his name? John Walker.
John
what
Walker.
Is it?
Walker. John Walker. He is Captain America in the comics. He picks up the shield after Captain America steps down and he becomes old. Because Captain America comes back in Secret Invasions and stuff like that. He's old, but he comes back and takes the super serum, but he doesn't go young again. He's older, and he still fights and stuff. He actually becomes head of Shield. Again, he comes back, and S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back through him and Mariah Hill. Because Tony Stark actually took over as director of S.H.I.E.L.D. after Fury stepped down.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So my thing is, so in the comics, John Walker starts doing stuff that's not actually on level with what Captain America does. So Battlestar is up against him on that, and then actually sides with Captain America during the next Civil War, and with Battlestar going with him, and John Walker becomes what's called Secret Agent. He doesn't become Captain America anymore. He's just called Secret Agent, and he works for the government.
Doing what? Like the government already has Captain America, so what does he? If they have Cap, what do they need Secret Agent for? Like where would?
Just somebody that's not connected with the Avengers and can do whatever they tell him to do, like a soldier that's not like with a superhero
mercenary
team. Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that it looks like they may have pulled him into that because you have the way they introduced him. And by the way they introduced this guy was fucking ridiculous. Like to me, there have been some creative choices that I think are very bold in this, but at the same time, there have been some choices where I'm thinking maybe somebody else was in charge of making the decision because the way they introduced him, I didn't love the locker room scene. That wasn't bad.
Yeah, it just didn't feel real. It wasn't genuine.
It didn't feel real.
Here's the suit you're going to be wearing, and you're the next guy. We picked you because you have all these skills that without the super serum.
Exactly.
You're able to throw a vibranium shield around and catch it and do all this stuff without the serum?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Bucky has it. We all know that Bucky has it. He's strong.
Oh, yeah.
Not just the arm. He has more abilities than Falcon does. Falcon's good with flying and doing all that stuff, but he doesn't have the serum.
Well, even then, so this dude, John Walker, I mean, he's just a normal guy. He three Medal of Honors.
He's like the peak.
They study.
Like he's the peak of what you can be without having any kind of enhancements, I guess.
Okay, Exactly, but you're still just a dude. And to me, it's like, all right, well, and then again, I go back to the way they introduced him. It's some like drumline, some high school band. It's like, is this really how we're gonna do this? This is, I mean, at this point, I'm thinking maybe there was a budget issue. I don't know. To
COVID.
me, it just, yeah, maybe that's what it was. And
I'm gonna blame on anything. I'm trying to like disengage myself cathartically. Cathartically, is that even a word? From stuff like that, just putting that. Yeah, there we go. It's out there. You heard it here, folks. Just based on kind of stuff like that with COVID, honestly, which sucks, you know. But we thank God we're getting movies and TV back, you know, and we can do these chats.
That's the biggest win that there is, because I, you know, honestly, and I don't know if you know, but I know we're gonna talk about it. Godzilla versus King Kong opened up last night, I think in China or Japan.
Next Friday, guys, we're gonna be chatting about that right here.
It's on. Well, yeah, but it comes out on Wednesday,
yeah.
So the movie's already out, and so you know, but I'm most excited about that, and you know, I'm sure that you saw, and I'd love to. We should talk about, again, on this but off this, how, you know, the film business has kind of changed, because Disney Plus swear it up and down that they're not going to release Black Widow on streaming services, and they're going to do that, albeit they are going to release it in theaters at the same time. You now have the option to see it in your house. I think it's like for an upcharge of $30, which, I mean, you know, we talk about if you've got kids and you know, if you're a family and you got kids of 3 and they want to see it, and you know, hey, that's a good deal. You buy a couple of pizzas and you're good. But right. I agree.
I wanted to see it in theaters, but I'm like in between jobs right now. My job is supposed to start on Monday, but I probably won't start until the 12th. So I was planning on seeing Godzilla and King Kong in theaters, but we're probably just going to watch it here on HBO Max, to be honest.
Dude, and HBO Max is a great model for that, and it's interesting to talk about that.
Yep.
And I'd love to talk about how, you know, Christopher Nolan pitched the biggest fit in the world about Tenet. And did you see that Tenet's going to come on HBO Max May 1st? It's going to be.
I didn't.
Yeah. So
I'll watch it. I need to watch it again. I've only seen it once. But
you've seen it?
Yeah, I
haven't even seen it.
Yeah, I watched it. It's good. It's good. Well, we can talk about that too. We can discuss that. But final thoughts on this before we wrap up, guys. Thank you so much for joining us in the chat as well too, and please subscribe to us on YouTube as well for this podcast, ReelChat with NAT3MILL and CMCarter. Next week we will be discussing Godzilla, King Kong, and I kind of want to do a little epilogue here about that as well too, going in before we see it as well. Yeah. Bob is right. HBO is killing it. Absolutely. Yeah, Bob, the stocks are up for that as well. I love Justice League. I'm a big DC guy. I'm more of a DC guy than Marvel. 100% comics, TV shows, and stuff like that too. I think what we'll be doing is we'll be discussing HBO Max at some point, what they're doing right and stuff like that, as opposed to what Disney Plus has been doing. And also next week, King Kong versus Godzilla. We're gonna be discussing that movie, and then the week after that, I think honestly we should do a Marvel versus DC, TV, comics, and movies. I think we should discuss the differences between that. Chris, what do you think?
Should I have to bring the big guns in for that one? I'd have to do some research.
Get some guests in. I'll bring in one guest. You bring in your guest. We'll have them discuss as well too. How about that?
Yeah. I'm totally down for that. I like the idea of that. I think that there's such a rich history in that, especially in film recently over the past decade. I mean, there's a whole. If you went to high school, I mean, if you graduated high school this year, that means you grew up with Marvel since you've been 10 years old. Well, maybe even 9 years old.
It's been 10 years. It's a decade of movies, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of your upbringing, right? Like you're used to them in that level of quality. I
grew up with Justice League Unlimited. I grew up with Batman versus Superman. The first comic I ever read was a Batman comic.
Interesting. Dude, I am exceptionally excited for Godzilla vs. King Kong. I mean, the kid in me and the adult in me and the creative in me, and I don't.
Good question, Bob. We'll discuss that next. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Let's talk about it. We can talk about WandaVision too. I'm just really excited to talk about King Kong. I'm sorry, Godzilla versus King Kong.
I know
would
you
never
are.
say King Kong versus Godzilla.
We'll touch on WandaVision,
Godzilla
then we'll do
King Kong.
Okay. Well, this is where I'm excited for this discussion between you and me, because we both see differently on this. Okay. So quickly, WandaVision. Yes, Bob. Let's talk about that. WandaVision. I was confused with the very beginning because there was differences, but like with the visions between what was Wanda doing, how she got Vision to create Vision. That was interesting. I liked it as it went on. It finally gave WandaVision the name Scarlet Witch, which is where I've been wanting her to go since Civil War. Honestly, I wanted her to get that job, that actual title, you know. And they finally said it. It's magic. You know, she's using magic. It's not just telekinesis. She has the ability to do magic besides moving stuff with her mind. You know. So I liked the movie, the show. I'm sorry, I liked the show. I thought it was good. I like where it's going to go. I'm excited to see Vision coming back because obviously we know White Vision has his memories. He just doesn't have the soul of Vision, like his past emotional connection to everybody. So I think we're gonna get Vision. I think we're gonna get Vision back in whichever
That's a
phase
great philosophical question, Nate, because you could technically learn that part of it too, right? So White Vision would be that's going to be interesting for that going forward. So I just wanted to add to your point there.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris? How'd you like WandaVision?
Dude, it's funny. I came into it way late. Like Jessica's really was really into it, and it's for the first 3 episodes. I was confused. The production value was great. I love Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany,
Me too.
The way he conducts himself. Yeah, he's fantastic to watch, and their chemistry is great. Their chemistry is some of the best chemistry I've seen outside of Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, and that's for a whole different reason. But yeah, watching them go through it, I loved it, and the way it wrapped up, I thought it was fantastic. And that last episode felt, a lot like the Avengers, part of the Avengers tissue. And yeah, I would love to see how that continues. I will say though, they have announced that again, this could change, that they have no further plans to moving forward with the season 2 on that.
Of WandaVision? No, it doesn't make any sense to do it. She's out of town, so I wouldn't want to see another season of WandaVision. I want to see a movie about Wanda.
Sure.
Make her, because that's one of the things that DC's great. They really believe in their female characters. Marvel needs to step it up. Thank God they're doing Black Widow. They need to give Wanda her own movie.
Bob makes a great point in the chat too. Like honestly, they talk a lot about. I think Elizabeth Olsen is going to be in the Doctor Strange film. I think it's Madness. I forget the title.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Thank you very much. There's no way I would remember that. Thank you so much for remembering that, because I wouldn't have.
I'm excited. She should be in that movie. She should be with Doctor Strange. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
And apparently that she is. So that's gonna be great. I think they need to develop more with Mephisto, who's pretty much like the Lucifer of Marvel era.
Really?
Stuff. Yeah.
I didn't
so
know that.
It's like there's Dormammu, who's like the big bad of like that extra universe that they kind of touched on with Doctor Strange, but Mephisto was actually her sons were shards of Mephisto because she used the chaos magic. She pulled pieces from him that created them, and I think that's who she heard at the end of the show.
It's interesting because now people are talking about just kind of tying these two together. Patriot and then her 2 sons, Wiccan and I forget the other one's name. They're the Young Avengers, right? If I recall. Mm-hmm. So that's what people are saying. Their connective tissue, and again, I keep using that adjective, and I don't mean to, between all of these series going forward too. And I think there's even one they mentioned in the upcoming Loki series, which that one has got me giddy because I love Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Woo! Yep. Sign me up.
I mean, I like touching back on Paul Bettany. What you said, I like Paul Bettany's history with Marvel because he did the voiceover for Vision, and his wife actually is the voice for Friday, which is hilarious.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think how Marvel does that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But when they finished the last movie with Tony Stark and him doing the voice of. Yeah, Bob, we're doing this weekly, bro. Next Friday, we're going to be discussing King Kong and Godzilla. Arizona time, probably around 5 or 6. So keep in touch. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram right in there. You'll be able to check in with us, okay?
Thank you, Bob.
Appreciate your point of view, man. We really do. Check in with us again.
Thank you, man.
Back with Paul Bettany. He was literally speaking to his agent, and his agent's like, you should probably just quit. You're not going to continue in this industry. And there's nothing else for you. I have no other work for you. Nobody else wants to work with you right now. He was literally outside of his agent's office on the sidewalk, thinking about where his life's going to lead. And he got a call. He got a call from the director who did, I think Joss Whedon or whoever, who did the movie. He's like, hey, we're going to do Vision, and he's going to be he's going to have the voice of Jarvis. Would you like to play him? And he said yes. And that's how his next couple of years went with him being Vision.
Yeah, it's funny. I know that story, and I loved it. I was actually going to bring it up to you. That's a wonderful story, and it rings true for all the actors out there. Nate, for people who don't know, you're an actor too, so we've all kind of hit those moments of creative lows. You have to burden this part when, and it's just funny how that happens. Jeremy Renner has a story very similar to that. I mean, Jeremy Renner was successful too. He was in SWAT. After he did SWAT, I think he gave himself a window of time, and he said, I think, and again, I may be misquoting this, but the gist of it is he said to his parents, if I'm not in something that you can recognize me in within a year, I'm coming back. And then he got cast as Hawkeye.
Well, no, it was Hurt Locker. Hurt Locker is the big thing for him.
Oh, was it Hurt Locker? I thought it was Hawkeye.
No, it is Hawkeye. The actor Jeremy Renner. But
I know
his
that.
movie that got him on the map was Hurt Locker.
When the movie that got him on the map was SWAT.
Well, that was his first one, yeah. But no, I'm talking about he was literally a construction worker developing houses in California, and he was sleeping in them because he didn't have a place to stay.
I did not.
He was a construction worker, and he literally had a tux hanging to go to the premiere of his movie that night, and he was sleeping in a not finished house in Hurt Locker, and then Hurt Locker got the Oscar, and that's when his career took off.
That's fucking. I did not know that. That right there, that is why we hang out on Saturday together. That's gold, Nate. I did not know that, and I love Jeremy Renner.
I love him, dude. I loved him in The Town. The Town was probably one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah,
it was great.
Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck is funny. He has this knack of directing smaller films that do really well. Did you see? Have you seen Hurt Locker?
Of course I have.
It's fucking incredible.
I love it.
I saw it. I saw it the first time when it came out, but I saw it recently. And the story behind that's great too, but that's another conversation for another day. But that's a neat anecdote.
Speaking of conversations, drum roll please. All right, little epilogue leading to Godzilla and King Kong. 10 minutes on the clock right here. Chris, who do you think is going to win?
Well, I think that King Kong's going to win. But
He's
I only
king,
say
baby.
that. I only say that because cinematically, that I think that Godzilla he's neutral. King Kong is more good than neutral. And I do think that obviously because fucking Mechagodzilla is being dropped everywhere now. Right?
Okay,
everybody
we're
knows
just going to spoil it. Okay.
Well, but at this point you have it. Yeah. What I would say is don't look on anything because now they even have the design out. Like now there's even a Mechagodzilla toy out that you can get, you can pre-order. And it's being pushed by Legendary, which is ridiculous because the movie's not even out yet, Legendary.
Oh man.
But I do think that and this is the last one. So this is the MonsterVerse wrapping up. There are no more plans for any more King Kong films, Godzilla films.
Right.
This is that. So it would be a neat little bow. And as much as I hate it for it to happen, is we've got we roll out with Godzilla, who have defeated Mechagodzilla's laying bleeding out, and you hear the thump beat of the heart, and it getting longer and longer, and Godzilla's watching as King Kong kind of walks off into the water. Or that could be reversed. King Kong could be dying, and Godzilla submerged into the water, which is my hope.
So I love King Kong. I like the King Kong movies. I like that.
What? There's only like 4 movies. How can you see like the movies? There's like 4 of them. There's like 20 Godzilla movies.
Because I'm about to explain. Okay. I like his essence in preserving. He's only ever attacks unless he's attacked, so to speak. Yeah. I like that essence of him. Godzilla. I love Godzilla movies. I actually really liked the Broderick Godzilla in New York, where it was an iguana that became like evolved or whatever. I actually enjoyed that movie when I was a kid. That was actually one of my favorite movies growing up in the 90s. Godzilla movies, great movies. They're great. The first Godzilla movie was trash, in my opinion. I did not like it.
The one for 2014?
Yeah, the one that actually had Wanda and Quicksilver actually married.
Yeah.
Hated that movie. It was a horrible movie. I'm sorry. It wasn't a Godzilla movie, in my opinion. It was a weird alien movie, and Godzilla just showed up at the end. Which maybe that's a Godzilla movie is from black and white movies back in the day. I didn't like it. Like it was like Charles. Oh, they're about to fight, and all of a sudden it goes to a point of view from a TV. I'm like, go back to that. I want to watch that. Yeah. What is this? Right. I was ready. I think I fell asleep in the theater. I think I actually was like, I don't know who I saw it with. I think it was Travis or something like that. But I couldn't stand it. We were so upset. Like I remember one time we were watching it, and like this Asian group when Godzilla finally showed, they stood up and they were cheering. I'm like, sit down, watch the movie. What are you doing?
Bro, Godzilla's a fucking icon. I would do the same thing. I almost cried. Funny story. I'm not going to hijack a story, but I do want to add to it. I almost cried when I watched the trailer for King of Monsters. The first time you see Godzilla and Ghidorah, kind of when they run at each other, and you have that scene where, Godzilla grabs Ghidorah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I will agree with you. The 2014 Godzilla, and I like Gareth Edwards. He did Monsters. He did a couple of good things out there, and he did kind of revive that franchise because we have.
He did. I'll give him props for that. Yeah.
But you're right. What they didn't do was they didn't show Godzilla. And once it came out, everybody kind of had that same criticism. And clearly, when they came out with King of Monsters, they fixed it because it was basically it's what it should have been, a monster movie with human elements. And so, and that's what I'm hearing about Godzilla versus King Kong. That the battles are spectacular. And
I can't wait. I'm excited for it. That's what's going to be next. So do you want to do it next Friday or next Saturday? We're going to for you better. Saturday?
Saturday works better for me only
Let's
because
do
my
Saturdays.
Friday middle beatdown.
Okay, we'll do Saturdays. We'll post this on YouTube and stuff like that too. So next week, guys, King Kong versus Godzilla.
No. Godzilla versus King Kong.
I'm excited. All right, I just want to put that out there. I think, yeah, of course, we all know Mechagodzilla's going to be in there, but I think King Kong would definitely wreck Godzilla.
Do you think anybody else would be in there? Do you think anybody else would be in there outside of Mechagodzilla?
I don't think so. Mothra and everybody else is still alive, technically, but I think it's just going to be them. And, of course, we know that Mechagodzilla is going to be there now with the whole reveal from Chris Carter about the toy. Thanks.
Yeah, well, it's not my reveal. It's Legendary's reveal. I was just regurgitating what they said. So.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on ReelChat, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay tuned for next week's. And then following week, we might do a Marvel versus DC, so tell your friends, get involved. Stay tuned for that next week. Every Saturday, we'll do this at 5 p.m. All right? Catch you guys later.
Bye,
Respect
guys.
yourselves. Respect each other. Take care, guys. Thanks for joining.